day 3 of the November 2005 7-day retreat in Springwater. Last night in the group, the last question was about effort. Can you say something about effort? And in walking one round here, passing the little bunches of flowers, and then this, where was it? Oh, in the dining room, these, don't know their name, the plants that used to be so tall that it reached the ceiling, so it was cut down to 3 stumps with nothing on them. It was a little bit of sad look. 3 stumps. And now if you take a look in the left northern corner, the grace with which these 3 stumps have developed. They looked like a dancer, 4 dancers in a position. Because one of them became 2. So there's not 3 but 4 with an incredible beauty of movement while not moving. And I was wondering, is that an effort to come out of a little stump like this and bend like that and hold it? It's holding it. Doesn't have to sit down or stretch. It's just doing that. It's not doing it. I don't know how to describe it, but I was wondering, is that an effort? And of course, it isn't. Is it? It's a useless question. And maybe not completely useless with regard to what we're doing here. To sit still and yet be in motion. Motion arrested and yet so fully expressed. When you also look at the whole iconography of Buddha statues or Bodhisattva statues, there's such life breathing out of those stone statues or metal. They're alive with movement. Maybe there was great effort for the sculptor to bring that forth, this beautiful statue. And yet, I have a notion that it comes out the best when there is the least effort, when there's just an intuitive letting go and letting be and letting unfold. Is that an inspirational idea? Sometime when one is sort of laboring to sit straight, although I hope nobody is laboring to sit straight. Here we're not talking about that at all. And yet you may have had previous training where you were admonished, somebody coming around to sort of hands in the lower back, and this was pushed back and the chin was pushed down. So tending to sit that way. And of course there was a lot of talk of effort to give your best, give your most. And that may still be reverberating in the ears and in the whole body, this exhortation, being exhorted, is that the right word? Being exhorted to exert yourself. And what does it mean? Often it means people will flex their muscles a little bit more. There was once a photographer from the New York Times at the Zen Center. He was making a segment for the magazine section and took pictures in the sitting room, and usually the best and most ardent sitters were in this so-called middle aisle and in the front, closest to the door, so they would have the quickest exit to run up to for the meeting, for the Doksan. And when I opened that, now I didn't have to open the page, I just had to open the paper, because this picture of people in the Zendo was right on the first page. Didn't have to leaf around for it. And here's this man sitting, and you can see he's doing his best. That thought just jumps at you. You can still hear the vibrations of the encouragement talk that brought about that posture. It wasn't very inspiring, I found, but yeah, to do one's best is to do the least. And no doing, no doer. No, I got to do this. These thoughts, if they calm down, quiet down, and maybe fall away, then a more natural posture unfolds in us. The posture of inquiring, listening inwardly. What is this? What is going on? Not I got to come up with a result and bring it to the teacher. Race up the stairs like mad. And bring what? Well, of course, this is all a come on. The teacher is in a way tricking you to find out what one's best is. At least I think that's sort of the underlying rationale of all this exertion, this Zen exertion. Exert yourself so much till you just give up. You can't bring it about. That which you're looking for. Enlightenment or liberation. You give up, and at that moment of giving up, maybe there is a seemingly miraculous opening. And what is here is revealing itself in a wondrous way, not through exertion. The eyes are relaxed, or they don't scout around for something. Yeah, there's no for something, there's no duality, there's just this being here. One has never been able to practice this. It has to come upon one. And there's no one there. There's just this open listening and marveling at the wonder of being here without exertion. So whatever you may have learned about exerting yourself, doing your utmost, giving your last bit, each place, each center has its own verbiage for this process. Don't be tricked. Just listen with a smile to what's going on inside and out. I don't mean feeling superior, because it is not of that. It's not anything of superiority or inferiority. Those concepts have dropped away as so much put on. Come on. So, this is what the man who had this question, he brought up. He says, I'm not really asking about right effort. I don't know why not, but it has to do with right effort, but not in the conventional way. There is, in the many different good things or right things that the Buddha's teaching propagates, there's also right effort in there, right? I don't know what all these rights are. Doesn't matter. But it nags. Well, what is this right? What can I do to bring it about? Or I really want to be good and want to conform or want to obey or do this thing without resistance or what can I do to do it right? Do you have that question? Then to just listen inwardly. Does that make sense, listen inwardly, or does that not make sense? It is listening inwardly. It is the wind. That listening is inward as well as outward. I wouldn't even know what is what. It's listening openly, openness to all the motions and compulsions and past conditionings. I don't mean to find the proper Latin name for it. But listening, and it will reveal itself, like in that picture in the magazine section. All the words that have gone into our system, and now these words are operating through our crampy postures. You should, you shouldn't. Thou shalt not. These all affect the body. All these shoulds and should nots affect the body. If you listen inwardly, you can come upon it. And maybe again a smile. What was I thinking? Or you in sitting quietly, not knowing what to do and attending to whatever is here, you may find a cramped spot, a spot with a lot of, what is a good word for it? Tension, maybe even pain, exertion, and it's caught by the attention, or it reveals itself in awareness. Let's put it in our up-to-date verbiage here. Let it reveal itself in awareness, this spot of tension, of cramp, of tightness. And by gently allowing it to reveal itself, gently, not put another thou shalt not on it, like relax, as an order, as a command. I'm sure there's places where it's given. You gotta, oh yes, but we were told to relax. Relax your shoulders, we were told. And here you were sitting with these totally crampy shoulders, and the teacher says, relax your shoulders. And you think, but it's easier said, I can't relax my shoulders. I don't know how to do it. So, try this if possible, to give it whatever reveals itself, particularly these tight spots in the body, around the body, to sort of climb into it gently, aware. Let awareness feed into that. That is a wonderful discovery when that becomes possible, to have that the body radiate with awareness. All of the tight spots are lit up by awareness. And the amazing discovery is that out of this lighting up or awareing, all kind of thoughts bubble out of it, drop out like bubbles in bubbly water. Bing, bing, bing. Don't do this. Don't do this or do that. You mustn't. You shouldn't. These thoughts come out of a tight spot that is bathed in gentle awareness. Try it. Not how you must do it, but have an interest in it if it comes. Attend to it sort of so ever so gently, lovingly. What is this? And maybe suddenly words, past orders or commands drip out of it. You mustn't. You shouldn't. Don't do that. And with the words having dropped out of it, the spot is no longer necessary. The tightness is no longer necessary. It relaxes. Not because somebody says relax, but because it has been given this ever so gentle attention. A wearing. The German word Wahrsein is very similar to the English. It has the same roots, and the word wahr is truth. And I'm sure the ancient English is all in this awareness. This where is also truth. I'm sure that is what the root is. We can look it up. I must have looked it up in past times. Let the truth of this tightness reveal itself. You must, you shouldn't, don't. Never again, all of this kind of commands, these impossible commands that were pressed into us, often under painful circumstances. The pain of being ordered about and in the place of loved. Put one's arm around that tension. Yeah. It's a new way of dealing with this whole question of effort. Replace what is buried in there, the often heartless commands, cruel commands to children, little children, or adults. Military school or just ordinary school is also often like a military school. Can you hear me when I talk? I remember at home in my childhood, I had a brother who was a year and a half older than I was, and very truculent. I don't know whether that's the right word. He didn't want to talk, communicate, because he'd had bad experiences already at birth. His mother died in childbirth. He was not my real brother. And he just was always looking so bookish. What's the English word? Bookish. Huh? Stubborn. Yes. Stubborn. I hated that word when my mother said, well, you have the bock again. Bock is that animal, the male version of a goat, isn't it? Bock. Oh, when my mother uttered that word and labeled him this way, I already cringed, because nothing good was going to happen. So then she wanted to know, what's the matter? Why are you like this? And it was so clear what this misapplication of words and action, which was not anything like love. And of course, Peter was just cramping up more. How do you say? Was more truculent. It was bringing about the opposite of what was desired. Because my mother would have loved to have a happy, smiling son, loving her and appreciating her, and she never got that because it was never promoted or provoked. It was both of them engaged in exercises of futility. So here's a new way of dealing with one's own obstinacy. And we know it all when somebody wants us to be nice or wants us to talk. And why are you talking? What's the matter with you? This is this impossible question. What's the matter? This is there. nice fresh air. So, of course he couldn't say or didn't want to say what was the matter with him. What could he say? You are the matter? I had never seen this connection, but all of this has fed into when finally I agreed to do this work here. I hadn't really gone out for it at all. I never wanted to be a teacher or this, whatever you call this I'm doing. And if so, it would have to be different. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes people tell me, you didn't talk very nicely to such and such, or to me. And I'm shocked because I didn't realize it. It was not my intention. Because a certain forceful element sometimes in my voice. And yeah, probably my mother didn't know what she was doing either. Forgive them because they know not what they're doing. That's a wonderful command, isn't it? But not I forgive you down there, but let's understand each other where our behavior comes from. And not blame it or punish it, but understand it. And out of that understanding comes the right reaction, the right response, the right effort. Yeah, if there is some love left in the heart, lovingness you may call it, then the effort will not go off the side. It'll be right here, imbued with love, with understanding. And it does happen at times, and one is amazed at being able to be loving when one has not maybe had this experience before. It's in all of us, I think. Of course it must be. Well, I don't know, but it's a nice thought, isn't it? That lovingness is there, someplace either buried or near the surface in all of us. Just wanting to flower, to unfold and blossom. A little bit of water, a little bit of sunshine and warmth. Then it's not anymore the question of what is right effort, but can there be loving action? And if not, embrace this moment in which there's resistance or truculence. What was that word? Obstinacy. To embrace it. Is that possible? It sounds so paradoxical. May not be possible, but can it be seen just for yourself? You don't have to hang it on the clothesline. May not be possible to be so open about what hurts us and ails us. But if it can be allowed to be out in the open, at least in my own inner openness, maybe not public, may not be possible at this moment. But for oneself, is there openness for all the foibles and mismanagement that happens due to the way we've been conditioned by our parents and teachers? Of course it can. But if it's not possible at the moment, just to let it bathed in seeing, in awareing, with that word truth in it. To let the truth of it reveal itself. And this will evoke lovingness, whether we want it or not. Sometimes we're afraid of it. We're afraid of being loving, aren't we? Somebody approaches us with a lot of lovingness, we sort of recoil. It's a strange reaction. But I've noticed it in people. I don't know, I haven't noticed it in myself so much. Who knows? Maybe at that moment I wasn't aware. But one can certainly tell when a person is afraid of being loved or being loving. A real fear to let that happen for 10,000 reasons. We don't have to uncover them all. And we don't have to feel guilty about it either. It's just there. It happened, and it's happening now, if it is. So let it be seen. Gently. Not with guilt or blame, or with these rough methods of wanting to change. Like Kyle, I told it yesterday, was that in this talk or in a smaller talk, where he jumped up from the tarpaulin on which we were all sitting with the Krishnamurti talk. Did I tell this in the small group? In a large group? Yeah. Here, laughing and with this lightest of energy and goodness. Yeah, I've tried all my life to become a better person. If you knew him, you wondered what a better person could be like. Yeah. That's effort. That's the false effort. Out of goodness wanting to become a better person. Goodness of obeying or pleasing other people. They want me to be better, so let's make an effort to be better. And where it's so easy, because not doing, we do it. Awaring. Allowing the truth of this moment to be there fully. While the wind is howling. It's cold, shivery cold. Doesn't matter. There, we have also musical background. Crow background. It's amazing what all can be heard and seen and felt when the mind is not set in any specific effort. Just open to receive and to aware what's there. So I've wandered far afield, have I, or not? Effort. What is right effort? I think we're there when these tense, tight, ugly spots, quote-unquote ugly spots in us, are no longer ignored or pushed aside or explained or excused. But so putting this, allowing this whole awareness to bathe it. So that there's no longer this spot in me or awareness. It's just one being here, whichever way we are at this moment, without rejection, no judgment. But you may say, well, look, you're lulling me into almost sleep here with these beautiful words, and it's like a lullaby to go to sleep. I think that I'm perfect as I am, what a wonderful thought. But then waking up to the fact that I have made an effort to come here. You may say, well, look, you can talk about no effort and that it's futile. But my goodness, you should have seen all it took for me to even get going at home. There was a lot of work to be done, and preparation for the week that I wasn't going to be home. I remember cooking all kinds of meals for my tiny family, only to find that most of the food was still there when I came back. But I had to prepare to make myself feel better. Not so guilty about going into what they thought was a beautiful vacation. My you're all laughing. It's funny, isn't it, that one thinks, or the others think, I'm going into a vacation. Well, maybe it is a vacation. If it is, then you're doing the right effort. Vacating, huh? That's what the word really means. Emptying out. There is a word for that which is used biblically. What is it? Kenosis, or where is it?
Yes, that's right.
Kenosis, meaning emptying out. But I don't know in what context it is talked about. Is it the effort? Is it the context of effort? Or letting it happen? I think the letting it happen is more an Eastern version, although the biblical stuff is not from the West either, it's from, at least from the Middle East. So why even fixate on that? What I meant is not to tackle it with effort, to empty myself out. How do I do that? And that can become the next command. Empty yourself out. Yourselves. Oh. We have too little trust in spontaneous happenings without me, without the will. We have no trust in that because we haven't been brought up to believe in it. We have been brought up to believe in the effort of and the results of willpower. And there's something to it. I've played around with it a lot. The willpower, meaning, the way I see it, the right words to evoke determination. One pointedness or single-mindedness, not thinking of this and that is distracting the energies, but the realization, I've got to do this, I've got to bring it off. Those words, I wonder what words go through Lance Armstrong's mind as he lumbers up those French Alps there. Unbelievable effort. What goes through the mind? Are those words? You got to do it. Number 7, or is it an emptying? It'd be interesting to hear more about it. If it's just the I in the foreground, the main mover, meaning the idea of I have to do this. So many people are now believing in me to accomplish it for the 7th or 6th, I don't know how many, 7th time, I think. Well, it's not Leerlauf. What is Leerlauf? Empty, when the bicycle does on its own, downhill. That's not what it is, going uphill. There's a tremendous muscle effort in there. And probably a lot of me that pushes, entices. So that may not be a good analogy for this letting be and discovering this, the incredible energy of letting be. Does that make sense? The energy that unfolds when the me is quiet with its demands and pushes. Maybe not to bicycle up a hill. No, that probably wouldn't work. Although that example was often used, not Matt Armstrong. At that time he hadn't done his feats yet. But we were encouraged with all kinds of incidents like this. The Long March in Poland. And sometimes people felt this helped them to be shown an example of somebody who did not give up, just kept on trying, kept on sitting, kept on moving. That was the koan of choice. No, it wasn't choice at all. No, this thing has to happen totally. It can only happen totally unforced, this opening to effortlessness and me-lessness. That a life is possible without this me. And not only a life, but the spontaneous fullness and goodness of life when the me is in abeyance. No effort there. Oh, what do I know? I've never been a crow. Seems very effortless. So, have I said enough about effort and no effort? The right effort being none. None. The fullness and strength of letting be. And yet this letting be is fully aware and present. All the energies are in this presence, which is pure energy. Presence is that. But not forced by the thought of me achieving and succeeding. That is usually a drain. I don't know how it feels if you have until now made tremendous efforts. Does it feel as though this is taking the wind out of one's sails? Or is it just the opposite of a fresh wind in the sails? The wind of no doing, wearing and just sailing along. Or laboring along if the hour isn't up yet, or the 25 minutes, and it hurts terribly. There's a lot of pain. And we have agreed not to be a disturbance to everybody else, and if several people would get up after 20 minutes or 18 minutes, it would possibly be a disturbance, whereas everybody sitting together is a help, because then one feels in the same boat. But at a time like this, when it is really hard to stay put and not to get up because we don't want to disturb our neighbors and the people on the other side of the hall, then to let that pain and discomfort be, and maybe realizing I've never really climbed into it. I never really examined it. What is this? And this question, what is this? Which a moment ago I suffered from, and now it is a switch from suffering and enduring to observing, watching or awareing. It's a completely different mode of being. Either becoming the sufferer, the victim, or the awarer. Attention, growing. Because that's you too, growing. I said that the word growing? Growing is okay too. It's us when we don't have a dividing line. This is me and that is the crow. Then whatever is happening is also me, because nothing separates me from it. No perception of separation. No perception of here's where I end or here. No, there's no such perception of ending any place. So if there is no such perception of ending any place, then what divides us? Everything is in here, although the in is not even the best word. It's here. Here. Right here. mysterious sense, but solely in the sense of there is no dividing line imagined. That conditioning has dropped away. If things were touched upon and not really worked out well or well enough, then do bring a question to the dialogue group, and we'll take it up freshly. You don't have to, but that's what the group is for. If something has been aroused and stirred up in the mind and body, then, and you want to look at it some closer, sometimes it's easier to do it together than to do it alone. Bring it to at 2:45. No, 2:45 is when we end, isn't it? And we ought to be ending. 1:45. We will end here for today.